Hello and welcome back to Seahawks podcast. I'm your host Tyler with my co-host Matt, and just when I was hopeful that these aren't the same old Vikings, I'm reminded at the end of the season that there's always gonna be a thing that makes us go back and remember that we're the same old Vikings.
Bro drawing the whole damn stack.
Yep. Yeah, I'll just talk about my game first, just to get it out of the way. Um, 3 quarters of close football. Like going into the fourth, it was 17-9. Very much in hand, one score game. Just defense was playing great all game. Offense could not stay on the field. And that's why in the fourth quarter we just got steamrolled because we've got a lot of veterans on that defense. And with them not being able to get any rest whatsoever, they're gonna get ran on. So Jameer Gibbs ended up having a field day in the fourth quarter, not surprisingly, because we could not capitalize. We could not score any points in the red zone other than 2 field goals, and we could not actually move the ball for a sustained period of time. Our defense, to their credit, like I said, I think they played great. I mean, holding the best offense in the league that averages 33 points, under 31 overall, even when you're gassing the fourth, but to 17 going into the fourth quarter, you can't really ask for much, especially with 2 turnovers. I don't even know what happened. We didn't turn the ball over ourselves, but Darnold just had the weirdest game I've ever seen. Like when he's been terrible this season, it's been because of turnovers, trying to force it to Jefferson or Jones, taking the sacks from pulling onto the ball too long. He only took 2 sacks this game, which he was facing constant pressure. So that's actually not as bad as it could have been. But he was just missing wide open receivers by a mile. And it's just something we haven't seen this year. I mean, he missed 2 touchdown passes to Jefferson. He missed a long pass to Hawkinson that would have been a 40-yard gain. Just multiple different missed opportunities. He got happy feet. He bounced around too much when he got the ball. Just didn't ever seem to get into a groove whatsoever, and just hardly ever put it in the same zip code as a receiver. And it was just so weird to see. I mean, 18 of 41 for 166 passing yards, quarterback rating of around 50. It's terrible. And you just got to hope that this isn't the case going against the Rams in LA again, which I'm sure it will be because it's only fitting that we'll lose to the same 2 teams twice, both in the same order, which I'm sure will be an NFL first because the Vikings are great at that. I'm sure that'll be all of what's talked about during the Monday night game. So, but yeah, I'm just glad it'll be Monday night and not Sunday night football because that would the announcer curses every single one hit. So I just hope that Joe Buck and Troy Aikman will not do that to us. And that the game will at least be decent. But we will have to see how that goes. I will say this game was more important for Detroit than Minnesota, so at least we have that to kind of look back on. We're still in a rebuilding year after all, and Detroit really needed this bye week to get healthy. So, um, they really did need this. This was their first playoff game for sure. Um, Sucks having to go on the road, but I think we're very capable of doing it. Defense travels, as we just saw. So we just got to hope our offense can at least keep pace, um, and at least score a couple touchdowns in the red zone. And I think that if we can pull that off, then I think we can win and keep going. It's going to be however Darnold plays. So we'll see what happens. But that's it for my game.
Yeah. Not much, man, sorry. Not much to say about the Seattle game. We let Jimmy Garoppolo throw for 334. That's always fun. A lot of the stuff that we've seen from this season boiled up in this game. Um, Gino into the game hurt. Luckily we stopped the Rams on fourth down, so he didn't even have to. do another drive, but we fired our offensive coordinator after 1 year. Apparently, he wouldn't run the ball, and it would take McDonald's begging him in the locker room to run the ball, specifically in the Giants game. Yeah, just didn't work out. Geno Smith liked him, which if it goes against Geno Smith, 100% for. Um, but yeah, Seattle is the only 10-win team in the NFL right now that's not in the playoffs, so that's always fun. Um, so yeah, Seattle gets basically the worst draft pick possible when you don't make the playoffs. So fun times.
It's not a great week for our teams, even though you guys won.
Yeah, Cleveland. Just running down these games real quick. There weren't many big notes. Baltimore wins the division. Pittsburgh then chokes. They've lost four straight going into the playoffs, and I don't even know how many of the last. Um, they've lost a ton of games. Is what I was going towards. Um, Atlanta, you lose in overtime. You had already been kicked out by the time you got to overtime, but GG Carolina, Washington. This game really didn't matter much for you, especially with Green Bay losing to Chicago and Chicago finally winning since what, 2018?
Yeah, 2018.
Tennessee, you get the number one pick. Um, Indianapolis, you win a meaningless game. New England, you win a game that cost you the number one pick and then got your coach fired. Um, Philly beats the Giants in a meaningless game. Giants are keeping their coaching staff. Tampa Bay beats New Orleans. That game was rough for a bit. Then Tampa Bay finally started turning it on. Um, Kansas City just didn't even show up to the game, basically. Um, Chargers got a tougher game than probably what they were hoping for against Vegas because that game was close for a while. Um, Rodgers finally hits, what was it, 500 career touchdowns?
Yeah, and he and Devontae Adams set a record too.
Um, Miami, you're keeping your coaching staff, and then originally it sounded like Tyreek Hill wanted out, but then the staff and Tyreek Hill talked, and apparently there were no mentions of a trade, and it seemed like things went well in that conversation. So we'll see how that pans out. Arizona just beats up on San Francisco, then our games.
Yeah, I find it very heartbreaking that the Bengals had every game they needed to go right since like 3 weeks ago that they needed to, and they had like 1% chance of making the playoffs, except for the Broncos losing to the Chiefs. Um, that I just wow, it's crazy, but they took too many losses.
Yeah,
Can't play football like that. And I mean, had they made the playoffs, Joe Burrow would have been MVP candidate as well. Jamar Chase would be OPOY as well. But I think it's going to be Saquon Barkley at this point.
I think right
Um,
now the betting favorite is what we'll call it. Oh shit, Josh Allen, and then Lamar Jackson's right after him.
yeah, for
It's
MVP,
probably
I'm
Josh
saying for
Allen.
Offensive Player of the Year, Saquon
Oh, sorry,
Barkley.
I thought you meant MVP. My bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
MVP is Josh
Saquon
Allen
deserves it.
and Lamar. Yeah, Saquon has to. Um, but yeah, New England just continues to tank the draft pick. But that was really the interesting thing there. Tampa Bay entered the playoffs, and then you sent the LA to be the 4 seed instead of the 3 seed. The Falcons didn't even do anything to help their chances.
Yeah.
But
As I said earlier, by the time they got into overtime, Tampa Bay had already was kneeling to win the game. So
yeah. And Mike Evans got his 1,000
I think he's tied.
in yard season again, so that's 11 straight. So congrats to him.
Who was Jerry Rice?
He's in very good company there. He's Jerry Rice at like 14, I think. So
I thought they tied.
I think Mike Evans is in second place.
I thought they said it was a tie, but that I might be wrong.
He might be in a
Yeah,
tie for second place then.
but still, congrats to Mike Evans. Nothing to sneeze at, and especially with the quarterbacks he's dealt with. Not saying anything about not Sam Darnold. What the hell, Baker Mayfield, but especially in the Jameis Winston years, Tom Brady's final year, and then the Baker Mayfield years, just to have that inconsistency at quarterback and still perform the way he does, you got to give credit to the man.
Also, you were right. He is tied with Jerry Rice for the record. So
Yeah. Well, still good. It's not bad company to keep. But yeah, a lot of people were getting their money, losing their money. Um, Indianapolis keeping their staff. Jacksonville fired Doug Peterson. Um,
Antonio Pierce was just fired earlier
yeah.
today. So
Dallas is expected to just let McCarthy go out and start talking to people. Um, he'll be,
Bears are sending out all the coaching invites.
yeah, that's true. Because I think with McCarthy, he's just going to be a free agent. So I would say that's being fired, but technically it's not. But
We'll see what Jerry Jones wants to do. I'm just glad I got one laugh on Sunday with Green Bay losing to the Bears. That was funny.
yeah,
So I audibly laughed when Chicago made the kick. I will admit that. It's nice. But yeah, so we'll see. Playoff football is upon us. So stay tuned for our rankings and our playoff rankings, so special edition, and our predictions videos that will be coming out later this week. As always, we might be changing some things up going forward during the playoffs. Might try to add in something a little different. So let us know if you want to see something different, what you'd like it to be. Otherwise, we'll try and just think of something ourselves playoffs and have it be good noise with wins. So that's really all we can hope for at this point. So with that, Skull.
Leonard Williams was snubbed from the Pro Bowl, but that's a whole another thing. Peace.